So hi everyone, I'm here to demonstrate to you the features of a MediaNet, how it actually works and how you can leverage it in a practical situation like this one. So we have two Cisco video phones, one E20 and one EX60 over there, and we have the network topology between, which is MediaNet enabled, right? And I'm going to start by starting a call between those two devices. So you can see the call starting between E20 and the EX60 over there. And you'll probably see, but we'll go back to this later, that there is really bad quality on the EX60, right? So for the sake of this demo, what we've done is that we've did a demo application on the E20. So to do that, we've started by integrating MSI. MSI is the Media Services Interface, and it's really the access point to the MediaNet features, right? So it's integrated onto the endpoints, and then the endpoints can access the MediaNet features through MSI. And I'm going to go through some of these features. So we've done this demo UI, right? This is the thing you're going to see is not MSI. It's just to present you how we can use the features, right? And we have access to several features that are provided by MSI on this device. So for example, here I have neighbors and location. And if I click here, it's going to... Very good. So I go on this page where I can see the neighbors and the location of the device. So what's actually happening here is that the phone is asking MSI, which is on the device, what is my location, for example. And then MSI, the Media Services Interface, does the magic with the routers and the network to actually figure out the location thanks to CDP and other features. So for example, here I have Wall on the 3rd floor in Switzerland. And this is completely dynamic, right? So if I unplug my device and plug it somewhere else, it's going to get the new location. So if, for example, you have language settings, it can automatically adapt itself to where it is. So same for neighbors. There's just a really simple API call, which is get neighbors, and MSI with MediaNet provides the neighbors in the closed network environment. So here I have the switch, for example, and you can imagine that, for example, a TV discovers that there's a streaming box next to it, and then you can have some auto configuration for it to stream the video flow. So that's the first example of using the MediaNet features through the MSI and how you can leverage it in a practical situation. So back to the quality problem we have on the X60. If I move my hand, you can see that it's really, really, really pixelated, right? What we're actually doing is that we're dropping some packets on the routers in between those two devices. So I have another option on my demo application, which is to start a Mediatrace. Mediatrace is another feature of MediaNet, which is going to allow me to diagnose and troubleshoot a problem on a specific flow, right? So what it's doing right now, it's sending a message along the network, along this video flow, asking the routers and the network hops in between to start gathering statistics about this specific video flow, right? Not any flow, but this specific video flow. And so every router starts collecting statistics, and every 15 seconds they respond to the endpoint, and MSI provides a report of what's happening. So you can see here that 3 routers responded. So it means that my video flow is going through those 3 routers, and then it's arriving on the X60. And I have here already the color code, right? So this one is green, this one is red, and this one is red. So you see that there's a problem. And if I go into a more detailed view, I can have more detailed statistics. So I hope you can see it. Here you have, for example, packet lost, and this one is 0, so this one is fine. But if we look at the next router, packet loss is more than 500 packets. The jitter is really big, and the byte rate is way lower than the first router. So there you go. Thanks to Mediatrace, you already diagnose your problem, you know where the problem is, and every 15 seconds you get new statistics. So all this is configurable, right? But it allows you to troubleshoot your network and see where the problem is coming from. So we're doing it manually, right? But it could all be automated. So how could we fix this problem? So MediaNet has another feature, which is metadata. Metadata is going to allow us to advertise this video flow along the network. So we would like to tell the network that this is not a random flow, this is not web traffic or voice traffic. This is a flow coming from a specific telepresence device, video flow corresponding maybe to an important video conference. And we may want to deserve a specific quality of service and have better quality. So here I have a small button to enable metadata and put it back to off. And so if you look at the quality on the other side, I'm going to enable metadata and you will see what's happening. So you see it's still bad, and if I enable metadata, all of a sudden it goes back to perfect, right? So I have no more quality problem and you can see me as I speak. So what happened here is that, again, the phone asked MSI to signal metadata, and MSI did all the tough work, signaled some messages along the network, sending the metadata, saying this flow corresponds to video flow from a telepresence device. And because the network is MediaNet enabled with MediaNet routers, the routers understood this message and gave the appropriate policy to the flow. So in this case it's expedite forwarding, but it could be different configuration. But they put in a different queue the flow that was advertised as telepresence flow. And so Mediatrace is still running here, it's still gathering statistics. And we can see already that now Mediatrace is all green. So you remember those two hubs were red, now they're green, and they're showing no more packet loss, right? So the problem is solved. I signal metadata, and everything's back to fine. And I also have an example, which is you could also put network management in the story, because the information that are on MSI are accessible remotely. So if you have a network management station, for example, you could imagine having a phone, right? And you would connect to the same E20. I hope you can see it. And basically, this is a web page containing the same Mediatrace information. So this means that remotely from any place, you could have your IT administrator, for example, and he could diagnose live the flow and see where the problem is, right? And you see the 3 routers here, and you could see the statistics. And so you could imagine, for example, a deployment where the device does local monitoring, and if there's a problem, it reports a problem to the network management station, which then starts the Mediatrace, right? And all this being done automatically. And finally, back to metadata, if we look at the EX60 screen over there, where the quality is back to good, I can have fun and, for example, disable metadata, so my video flow will go back to the normal queue, and you will see that as soon as I disable metadata, I get the bad quality back, right? So I get the jitter, I get the packet loss, and the byte rate is really low. And if I wait a bit for Mediatrace, it's going to go back to back. So there you go. That's an example of neighbor's location, Mediatrace, and metadata, and how you can combine all this to have a pretty good practical demonstration of the MediaNet features and how you can leverage MediaNet for a practical situation. Thanks.